acquisition team. A huge round of applause for Karthik. Over to you.
Thank you, Shreya. Yeah. So thanks for this opportunity. So for this talk, okay, thanks to all the audience also who are listening to me. I'll keep this short. The topic given, actually, if you see the page on NRB, it's passion and presentation of art. So what I thought, which will be relevant to the audience here is like Shreya mentioned, I'm not a full-time artist. However, I've been passionate about art for a long time. So what I thought I'll start by telling is like how I balance the two, like what I do professionally and then how I pursue my artwork. And then I thought uh, whether someone wants to be a full-time artist or wants to take up art as a hobby, I thought I will give my approach, like what I draw, uh, what are the tools I use, what kind of pencil, what kind of paper I use. Because what I think is that some of the people who have, even yesterday, some of the people who had come to our stall and seen our works, if somebody wants to start off with art as a hobby, they are not very clear what should I draw, what kind of book do I start with, what kind of pencil do I start with, what kind of tools do I use. So I thought I will cover that part for a few minutes, and then I'll conclude with telling like how I present my artwork and what do I do, like how do I post my artwork, and some of the tips and some of the things which I have found helpful. So this is what I thought I'll cover, and so it's like three sections. First is that passion part of it. Second is what I actually do, and the third part is the presentation to the outside world. So this is what I thought I'll cover. I don't know if there is, actually I'm not sure if there'll be an opportunity for questions or something like that, but in the flow of it, we will see. Okay. So the first is, like Shreya mentioned, I work with TCS. So I'm not a full-time artist, and I've been asked this question because I've been passionate about art for a very long time. Even as a child, I used to do all these drawings and all. So people used to ask, so are you planning to take it up full-time? Because that is I think it's for a lot of people, um, if you say that somebody has made that work, made that whatever they're passionate about as their work, it is like the best thing ever. Probably no. At least personally, I feel that keeping these two things separate is actually the way I like to keep it, because work. I'm fortunate that I'm in a good company. I have a good, my bosses, colleagues, team members have always been good. So I've had a good time at work, and but then there are always these pressures which you have at work also. I didn't want those kind of deadlines and those things to come for artwork as well, because I thought that if I take the artwork as a profession, or if I make it like a full-time thing, even if it is not the full-time profession, if I make it a very commercial kind of a thing, I may not enjoy it as much. So again, that's an entirely personal take, because that will differ for everybody. Because for some people, if they feel that the corporate work or something that is not making them happy, then they might want to take a step to make their passion a full-time profession. But for me, I'm happy keeping these two things separate. Okay, so I'm happy that I like whatever I get to do at work, I get the time to spend on artwork, and I get to do whatever I want. So, Shreya was mentioning in the introduction, probably the much of my artwork is based on movies, because I am very passionate about movies. So if you see the artwork that I've got displayed on my stall also, it's all mostly it is movie related stuff. So but then no, not all movies will be popular. So sometimes I'll watch a movie which I like a lot and I'll want to make a sketch on it, but it'll be some obscure horror or science fiction movie which probably nobody else would have seen. But I still have that opportunity to draw something based on that and write something around it. Okay, so that so I personally I like to keep these two things separate, because the artwork is something that I do to relax and to have fun. Okay, so that's the first part of the presentation, or the answer to the question that do you want to make it your full-time thing? Probably at this point of time, no. I'm I'm happy keeping these two things separate. Okay, now what I actually do and how I put across my art. So like Shreya mentioned, I've been passionate about art from childhood. And probably, nowadays you have blogging, right? Like people, so me and some of the other people I know, my brother and all, we actually started blogging way back before social media was a thing. So back then, no, several years ago, if you actually wanted to put up your work online, you had to create a website under some of these free web service providers. They'll give you some small space. You can upload artworks and all. So I even back then I used to try to do to post my work online. Of course, after that you had blogging platforms, and then the first social media or first social network that I was part of, and maybe some people will know, some people may not know also, it is Orkut. So after the Orkut days came Facebook days. After that, recently for the past few years, it's been Instagram, because slowly, I think many people moved away from Facebook because Facebook became too many things. So it's not a defined place for only one type of content. So that's why we moved to Instagram. Now, like it or not, Instagram also has become too many things. You have videos, you have reels, and the TikTok type features have come in. But then still, I think for presentation of art, that is one platform, even despite whatever the negatives we may say, a lot of artists are there, and I found a lot of inspiration from there. So in 2016, I started one account specifically for movie-related sketches, and for around 3 months, I actually did one sketch every day on that account. So it was like, it's okay whether I spend only 15 or 20 minutes drawing, finish that sketch, take a picture, post it, be done with it, move on to the next one the next day. So for me, Instagram has been like this outlet for all my like creative works, whether it is art or photography. So what I if somebody wants to take up this artwork as a hobby, because you never know, maybe they will they realize that they have an interest in it and they want to take it up as a profession later on. One of the things that has helped me a lot is to draw what you like. Okay, so because I was interested in movies and I like drawing faces, so that's what I started with, and that's what I continued with. For me personally, it is like, if I like that thing, I have more of that commitment to draw and make something nice based on it. So like I watched KGF 2. So and I want, so if you have to draw that Rocky character, so it's like I'll feel I'll be listening to the soundtrack of the movie and then drawing, so you'll want to make that thing good. So I found that thing helps a lot. And there are a lot, when it comes to art, there are a lot of mediums which people can use. I have found the most versatile or the most accessible thing is pencil and paper, because that is anyone, whether it is a school kid or even a professional also, if they want to actually take up drawing and learn the fundamentals, pencil and paper is accessible to anyone. And you have all these memes which says, no, like art supplies are very expensive. Art supplies can be very expensive, but pencil and paper is easily accessible. So the approach I follow is, I mean, it may maybe to people who already have art as a hobby, they will be able to relate to it better. But my approach is, I treat everything as something to be shaded. So when I'm drawing a face, what I do is, I usually start with one of the eyes. So if I'm drawing a person's face, the eye, whichever is on the left side of the page, I start with drawing that. I'll draw that, and then I locate the position of the other eye. And then based on where, so I'll observe in the reference image, okay, this eye, the lip starts where this eye ends. So I locate that position there. Then the nose will be in between where I've already drawn the eyes. So I locate the bottom part of the nose. So like that, I try to look at all the details in the reference image and then replicate that. So this has been my approach. So again, out of context, it may sound a little odd saying this, but and it may sound very simple, but if somebody wants to like have an approach towards drawing, what I will suggest is this actually. take something that you like drawing. It could be a face or it could be a building or something else. uh, Take that, take a good reference image of that, uh, and build up the shades slowly. So if you are practicing with pencil, one of the tips which is which I have found very helpful is, uh, try not to put too much of pressure and draw solid lines, because it's more difficult to erase that way. So so like I said, no, you observe all the details with less pressure, slowly build up the shades, and then try to replicate all the details which are there in the source, the reference image. So it may sound simple, but then if you follow this and practice it, it has actually helped me a lot. And the same thing applies even, so for me, I use pencil as one of the preferred mediums, and the other is ballpoint pen. Because with ballpoint pen, I found if you apply less pressure, you can get textures similar to pencil. Okay, so the same approach applies there also. I try not to put solid lines, light thing, light textures, and I slowly try to build up the shades. So, so these two things, I mean, if somebody wants to try out a different approach, or even if they are already into pencil drawing, I suggest just try this. If you find it comfortable, you can build on that further. And then now, finally, like to kind of wrap it up, like, so what do I do? How do I present my artwork? So, what I would say is that though I'm not a full-time artist, at least Instagram, because it has been a channel where I'm posting my works, I have kind of got a good, I'm very happy to be connected with many of the people here. In fact, I think most of the artists over here who I know, it is because of these kind of events, and it is because of Instagram. Because work-wise, our circle is very limited, and it's a completely different circle. It has nothing to do with the circle here. So I found that connecting with people on Instagram, other artists on Instagram, searching out their works, engaging with them, that has been very helpful for me. And then I always make it a point to attend events like this. So whenever I have the opportunity to participate in an event, it doesn't really matter. So Shreya said, okay, we have this event, you have art talks, you have, you can put up a stall, you have, you can do live sketching, you can do this. I said, fine, you just put me in for everything. So that also has actually helped me, because coming to these kind of events, you can get connected with other people who are into the same hobby or passionate about the same thing. So that networking with them, and then after that engaging with them on Instagram, that has helped a lot. And uh, more specific to art, one more thing I have found very helpful is participating in art challenges. So the one thing that has helped me a lot is consistency. So if you remember, I said that I set up one account and I actually did one sketch every day. So maybe sketch number 10 to sketch number 15, there won't be much of a difference. But sketch number 10, and if you compare sketch number 80, definitely there will be a difference. I found that because the same approach, whatever I told, you will become, your approach will become more refined, or if it is the same style also, you will become faster at it. At least that's been my experience. So the same approach that I talked about, if earlier in 15 minutes I used to be able to produce a certain level of detail, now I can do that in a shorter period of time. Because whether it comes to artwork or even photography, according to me, it's all a set of decisions that you make. At every stage, you have to render something. How do you do that? So it's an approach that you would have kind of figured out over time. So that becomes faster. So participating in art challenges. So again, here in this group only you have Harish, who once in a while he announces art challenges on his page, and there are a couple of other friends who have also set up art challenges. There are art challenges like Inktober. Then there is one challenge running right now called 100 Days of Sketching, which I think you are participating in it. And but then see, all of these are excuses for you to kind of put more work regularly. So what I will advise is actually find out these art challenges and then participate. It's okay, you don't have to do all 100 days, but at least, and with that excuse, if you do 30 sketches, that is 30 more sketches than you would have done otherwise. So that always helps. Okay, so this is what I thought I will cover. So these are the things which I personally have found helpful. So I thought that I'll just talk about that, and I probably later on, like if I can show you. So me and Sri were doing some live sketching there. So that same approach, whatever I talked about, I was drawing, and maybe whenever if you guys come to the stall, I can show you in practical also. Okay, so thanks. That's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you for the opportunity.